Hey, kia ora. Helen Brom's here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling Friday. It's Fun Friday. Woohoo! Fun FriYAY, as some people call it. So welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, episode number 1360. Oh, that's a nice round number, isn't it? Tonight we're going to talk about 10 ways to have a fun FriYAY. And it could be, you've taken the day off work. What do you want to do? It could be something in the evening. It could be the kids are off school that day. So what are you going to do with them? All sorts of ideas. And what I would like from you is in the comments below, put what are some of your favorite things to do on a fun FriYAY. And you'll learn what one of my favorite things to do is. And I get to do it tonight. Yay! It is, I'm just adding it to my list down here before I forget it. Okay, so you're ready. Here we go. Just sort of, my brain's just going. So anyway, so number one on my list, and these are in no particular, they're just in the order that I thought of them. So number one on the list is have a movie night with family and friends, and don't forget the popcorn and the snacks. I always think this is a fun thing to do on a Friday night, but I don't use popcorn and snacks. I have a little something different, which we will talk about a little later when we get to there, because it's something that I like to do on Friday nights, is watching a movie, but I don't do popcorn and snacks. I actually have something else that I have with it, and you'll find out about that because that goes in with what I like to do on Fridays. Host a game night and play board games or card games. And I'm not talking electronic. No, the electronics get put away and you put out an actual, take out a box, open it up, put out the board, all the pieces, and all of that, and you actually play a real board game. Not online, no electronic devices required. It is a real physical board game. In fact, my youngest is living, where is he? He's up in Michigan, and he belongs to a meetup group that meets to play board games. And they were actually on the local news up there about the fact that they play real board games, no electronic stuff. I thought, wow, that must be really special, considering the fact that a lot of people nowadays play video games and all these different games online that they can interact with other people, or they may do them solo. I'm guilty of that. I like playing all the different solitaire card games on the laptop or the iPad. While watching something, having some noise in the background. But it was just, and they were talking about the fact that they've got so much demand, they've had to go to 2 nights a week. Instead of just 1 night a week, they're doing 2 nights a week where they meet in 2 different places within the Lansing area, where they go and they play board games. And, the news was just sort of like, wow, this is really cool. People actually still play board games. Yes, they do. It is still a thing. And in some areas, it is thriving. There are meetup groups where you can go and play board games. And some of them might be the more strategic ones, where you've got to do a lot of thinking about the game and how it's all played and everything else. And some of them are just maybe the simple ones like Monopoly, the Game of Life, more of the simple ones, the more well-known ones. But then there's these other ones that are very strategic and have lots of cards and pieces and moving parts and stuff like that. But it's very strategic games. So that's always a good fun, is to host a game night and play board games, whether it's just family night. And that's another good thing for Fun FriYAY, is make it family night. Fun Friday family night. Family and friends, invite friends over, have a thing. Maybe you have a group of friends and you rotate who hosts on Friday nights and do different things together. If you've got the day off, go have a day at the spa, something different like that. Or take a picnic down to the local park or the local beach, the lakeside. Maybe there's a swimming hole in the local river or something like that, or the creek. Well, that's always a good thing to do. It's one thing I like to do as a kid, is that there was like a creek in areas where we used to live. There would be the local creek. We could go down and catch tadpoles. I used to love doing that. That was a lot of fun. Catch them in the jars, bring them home. Only to have them die. Wasn't sure how to take care of tadpoles, but it was still a fun thing to do. You could attend a local concert or a comedy show. If there's ones in the areas, Friday nights are good ones to go out for that. You get some really good comedians out there. Some are not so good. Brad and I used to go. There was a Holiday Inn by, trying to remember the name of the metro station that's there in DC. It was on the green line, yellow line, on the yellow line. King's Road, King's something or other, and sort of across the road from that was this Holiday Inn, and they would do these comedy shows on Friday and Saturday nights, live comedy, and you could do it as a dinner and a show, or you could do it just as drinks and a show, and so there would be times that I would catch the train, go and catch the metro to that station, and Brad would pick me up from there, and we would. So I didn't have to walk in the dark by myself. He'd pick me up at the station, and we'd drive across the road and park at this Holiday Inn, and go in and enjoy the show. And we had some good comedians in there, and we had some that was sort of like, I'm not so sure about this one. It's either a hit or miss with comedians, unless you know who the comedian is and you know of them and their work. But yeah, we didn't kind of do that. We didn't study them beforehand. But it was a lot of fun. Another one is get out of the city, get out of the town, go into the countryside, and find a spot to go stargazing. That's always fun. Take a picnic with you. There was one time one of the comets was coming through the area in Northern Virginia, and so Brad and I packed up a picnic. We packed up thermoses full of hot chocolate, and we set off to go and set up in some guy's field on some farm somewhere, because we were told we had to go meet. And Brad had a telescope with us, and so we could go and see this. And it was really an interesting evening to see all these people who were into astronomy that had come out and all that. And it was cold; it was freezing. It was winter. The clearest, crispest skies that I had seen in the US, and it was fantastic. We had a lot of fun, and there was this guy who had a homemade telescope, and it was this huge box. It was a square box, and you had to climb a ladder to look into the eyepiece, so you could then see out and all of that. And the guy was talking about how he had constructed it and everything else, and it was a very long box, and I can't remember how he got it there. But it was a lot of fun, and people were there with homemade telescopes. They were there with ones that they had purchased, and then they were telling stories about different times that they had seen different things. And I had never been to anything like this before, and it was an education. There was this whole thing on astronomy, and the types of telescopes you have, and if you're making your telescope, the types of lenses that you have to get, and which are the best manufacturers for the lenses for your homemade telescopes. And it was a whole new world for me. And all I wanted to do was I just went and popped open the back of Brad's car and sat there and we actually had camp chairs. So I just went and pulled out the camp chairs out of the back of the car and sat myself down and just kind of relaxed and just watched the stars. And Brad was off conversing with people, doing all the technical, that was his thing. I just wanted to look at the stars. So you can there are events out like that too. And I would tell you, Meetup is a great place to find things that if there's certain things that you want to do, go see if there's a meetup group in your local area. If there's not, start one. Start a meetup group so you can find like-minded people that like to do some of the things that you want to do. Getting together for a game night, or going out stargazing, or getting together to go on a walking, a walk. Just going for a walk, a hike, or something like that. If you want to go out rollerblading or roller skating and all of that sort of stuff, whatever it is that you want to do, start up a meetup group to find like-minded people. If you can't already find a meetup group that you could join, some of them do dinners like on a Friday night or something. They'll go and try different restaurants and things. Zeffy, leave that alone. Come here. I've got my reflector vest out ready for our walk as soon as I finish here, and in the pocket of the vest is her dried beef liver treats, and she was having a good sniff. Sorry about that. So there's meetup groups that will get together, and different Friday nights they'll go try different restaurants around town. There'll be just a group of them. It's just a networking group, and you try different restaurants. And that's another thing. Go out, try a different restaurant. There's always I know in San Diego we had the San Diego magazine that would come out like on a monthly basis or something. And one of the issues they had was 52 restaurants in San Diego that you could go them, like the top 52 restaurants in San Diego for brunch. And so I said to Brad, I said, that's one a week. I said, we could do that. And so we actually did start at one point a Facebook group and a blog for writing about the different restaurants that we were going to have brunches at each week. And we would pick one to go and try and all that. And I think we got like 2 or 3 done. And then Brad had some medical challenges, so it kind of got put on the back burner for a while and never got reignited. But we had fun doing that for the 3 weeks we were able to do it. Another one, barbecue night. Have a Friday cookout, the end of the week. One of the things I like to do when we were living in LA, there was a group that would get together at a local restaurant / bar, and they would have Finish It Fridays. And basically it was just when you finish work, you go down there, they're going to be there from this time to this time. You just hang out, you order food, you have drinks, you just connect and have network, getting to know the other people that are in the thing. And it was a Finish It Friday. It was a celebration to say, yes, we've finished the week. That was always a good thing to do too. So barbecue night. Photo scavenger hunt with family and friends. I love something like this. And what it is that you write out a list of things that they are to go and take photographs of. And everybody has, and pair up. So there's couples going, have one parent with one child, if you've got more than one children, figure out how you're going to have one parent go one way, one parent go the other way, and split the children between you, depending on their ages. But go out and have fun and just take walking around the neighborhood or something and taking photographs. And somebody writes up a list of things to go and find, and you got to go take pictures of them. Make some really easy and make some just a little challenging, but it can be a lot of fun to do that. And then you come back and compare photographs, and you can end up with some really great photographs from stuff around the neighborhood. That's always a good one. Maybe Friday is volunteer at a local charity. Maybe there's a local charity that does a special thing on Friday nights and they need volunteers. You won't know unless you call. So, find a charity that you're find a charity that you're interested in and see if they do anything on Friday nights. What's the night that they need the most volunteers? It may not be a Friday. It could be another night of the week, and maybe you could go and volunteer for that. Have a craft time, either a craft day or a craft evening. And this is always fun to do with kids. It gets them away from the TV, and I can't call it the Google box because that's what we used to call it as a kid. Google has a whole new meaning. We used to call it the Google box or the goggle box, something like that. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Back on task. You can get some craft supplies. Like you can go down and you can get these great kids kits, and in the kits they'll have like pipe cleaners and popsicle sticks and the little eyes, the little googly eyes. Those ones that you shake and the little inside bit moves around. They have pom-poms in there. They'll have craft glue, maybe the craft scissors. They have a whole bunch of variety of things in there, and just have fun making stuff. Maybe you could go get some of the kits that are like, make this jewelry, make a friendship bracelet, or build this house out of popsicle sticks, and one of those kits where all the materials you're going to need are in there. You might just have to get some glue, but everything you need is in a kit, and each kid gets to pick their own kit for craft day, craft evening, and you just put them out on the table and have fun. I remember after our trip to King's Dominion one time, we gave the boys, and this is back before when digital cameras were not as popular as they are today, you could still get the disposable cameras, and so we gave each of the boys a disposable camera, and so when they were out in the park, and we all had walkie-talkies as well, and so we did let them go off by themselves at times. They were all teenagers at this point, and they could take pictures of whatever they want to take pictures of. And what we did is when we got back is I got the films developed, and then they were over with us one weekend, and so I had the dining table out, and I had all my scrapbooking supplies out, like markers and double-sided tape and borders and stickers and pages, and we had an 8x11 album. And so I gave them blank pages and said, here's your photo pack. And they hadn't seen their photos. So I said, here are your photos. I want you to create your own scrapbook pages with using your photographs. And I had photos that I had taken as well. And I think Brad had some as well. So Brad and I were sitting there, and all all 5 of us were around the dining table. I think we even put like a couple of the 2 middle leaves in there, so we had a ton of room. And basically it was just get in there and make your own scrapbook pages, and then we put them all into one album. And that was a lot of fun. The kids were like, I don't want to do that. But once they got into it, they had a blast. And that was a lot of fun, that one. So they actually made their own pages to go into this family scrapbook. That was all about our trip to King's Dominion. It was interesting, some of the photographs they came up with as well. A family jigsaw night, pull out a jigsaw puzzle based on the age of the kids, pull out a jigsaw puzzle and all spend time around the table together, putting it together. Just as simple as that. And you can have some music playing in the background. It's a great way to start conversations around the table as well. And not heavy conversations, just general conversations. Maybe ask them how their week was. What was their favorite? What was their highlight of the week? Whenever you're doing these things like craft night or jigsaws around the table, great time for conversations. And just ask, what was the highlight of your week? What was the one thing, what was something that happened to you that you really enjoyed this week? Keep it away from the negative stuff. Just keep it upbeat. What was one thing that you really, and is to build that positive vibe with them. And so it gives them a chance to see things that you teach them to be grateful for all the good that happens to them. Later on, you can throw in there some of the negative stuff, but for first, when you're just going through that, just concentrate. What's something that happened to you this week that was really good? What was your favorite thing that happened to you this week? Things like that. I think we've already talked about having a picnic at sunset. Have a picnic at sunset on the beach and the lake side, on a river, or anywhere where you get an awesome view of the sun setting. And we talked about spa day as well. And then the last one on my list, I actually gave you way more than 10, but the last one on my list is something that I like to do on Friday nights. It was something my parents started with us when we were kids. And Friday nights, fish and chip night. Simple as that, fish and chips. And so when I do a movie night on a Friday night, I got to go get my fish and chips and bring them back here and enjoy my fish and chips while I watch a movie instead of using popcorn and snacks. But I may have a dessert afterwards because in one place where we lived, on Friday nights, Mr. Whippy would come around, and that's the ice cream truck. Mr. Whippy, it was called, Mr. Whippy, and he'd come down, and you'd hear him coming because they'd be playing Green Sleeves. And so you'd hear that coming, and we would time it so that we'd get back with our parcel of fish and chips. And as Mum was dishing up the fish and chips onto, because she would take the paper that it was wrapped in and make the paper plates. Because you got it, it's just a whole thing in New Zealand. So you get a parcel. It's all wrapped up in newsprint paper without the newsprint on it, but the newspaper may be on the outside of it. And then she makes up paper plates and she divvies up the fish and chips for everybody. And we'd hear Mr. Whippy coming just as she was either starting that or just finished it. And so we'd all go outside. We would all pick what we wanted for dessert. And then it was walk down the driveway into the garage, which is where the deep chest freezer was kept. Open up the freezer, and we would get told where to put our dessert. Close up the freezer, go inside, and sit down, have our fish and chips. And usually it was one night we got to watch TV while eating. Most nights we had a round table that we would sit around. And Sunday nights was the other night we got to watch while we're eating as well. But so we'd sit there and have our fish and chips. And then when everybody was done with the fish and chips, we all got to go out to the freezer and pick up our ice cream treat for the night and come back inside and have our dessert. And that's what I like. That's something that I try to keep up as a tradition. But sometimes it's hard to find the fish and chip places here in the States where you can go and get a thing of fish and chips. Sometimes there's been nothing I've been in places where there's no fish and chip place. So I ended up going, this is really sad. I'd end up going to McDonald's and getting their fish fillet sandwich with a side of fries. And that would be my fish and chips for the evening. Here, tonight we're going to go to Whataburger because they actually have a fish platter, which comes with pieces of fish on there, and then you decide what size fries you want to go with it. So that's the closest I'm getting to that as well. But I've looked for Arthur Treacher's and what's the other one? The other seafood thingy. It was a fast food place. But back in Virginia, we had Arthur Treacher's that we would go to for the fish and chips. And there's another place. Oh, Long John Silver. was the other place, but haven't been able to find those here. So we'll go to Whataburger and get their fish platter with their fries for tonight as soon as we get back from our walk. That's why I'm all ready to go for our walk. So those are some ideas that you can do on Friday to make it a fun FriYAY. There are also ideas that you can carry over and do on the weekend as well, or you can do any night of the week or any day of the week based on what your schedule is and things like that too. So those are just some of the ideas, but it's Friday, it's fish and chip night. I'm going off to take Zeffie for her walk, and then as soon as we get back from the walk, we'll be straight into the car and down to Whataburger to get our fish platter with the side of fries, and then we'll bring it back here and hopefully fingers crossed that we get hot fries straight out of the fryer, because they'll still be hot when we get home. And then we'll come home and we'll sit down and we'll put a movie on, or figure out what to do. But Zeffie is also going to have her playtime, her treat time, and her scratchy time. That's where she likes to sit and wants me just to not pay attention to anything, just be in the moment with her and give her scratches. So we have our little time with that too. So it'll be dinner first, and I will have a dog sitting right next to me going, yeah, I want some of that. And she'll go, and put her paw on the seat next to me as if to say, I see you eating that, can I have some too? That's my puppy. She always thinks that she gets everything, but she doesn't. Anyway, I'm out of here. So again, briefly, and some of the ones I've talked about while going through there that I don't have written down on my list, but my list says movie night with family and friends, host a game night and play board games, attend a local concert or comedy show, go stargazing, barbecue night, photo scavenger hunt with family and friends, volunteer at a local charity, have a craft night, have a family jigsaw night, have a picnic at sunset in some place where you get a really awesome view, be it the beach, the lake, the river, up a hill, on a mountain, wherever. Do a spa day, and finally it's Fish and Chip Friday. And I know that there were some other ones that I threw in there as well. So you guys got way more than 10. Anyway, but go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Oh, if you want to join us this weekend for Networking Riches, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. This is version 2.0. If you've been to Networking Riches before, this is very, very, very different to what you saw, what Networking Riches was the last time you came. This is version 2.0. We had the first one of this in March, and it was phenomenal. It went over really, really well. It was a lot more interactive, a lot more conversation, a lot more learning about business, about how people did things in business to get to where they are. We heard some background stories, and it was just really, really cool. So very, very different from what we've had in the past. So if you'd like to attend, just go to halftonetwork.com, which is scrolling across the bottom. There it comes, right on the screen there. Right here. Keep my finger up. Whoop, no. There we go. It's about to go off the screen. There it goes. halftonetwork.com. And you get to register there. And as soon as you register, you will receive an email with your login information for tomorrow. We start at 8 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow and go through to it's either 2 or 3 p.m. Pacific time. And it's going to be phenomenal. But we ask that you be on at 7:45 a.m. in the morning, just so you can get yourself situated. Make sure you've got your beverages, your snacks, pen and paper, and your phone. You will need your phone during this time too, because we do you do actually do hands-on stuff. So there's hands-on stuff that you get to do. There's stuff you get taught and you can get to implement it straight away. So anyway, that's it from me for tonight. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konera.